Hello there. Be sure to like and subscribe to uncover more astonishing tales each day. Welcome to Secrets and Lies, where every twist and turn unveils a new narrative waiting to be discovered. As the sun sank beneath the horizon, painting the sky with hues of orange and purple, I found myself seated on the couch, enveloped by an overwhelming silence that echoed through our once joyful home. With Brian's promotion, he ventured off, leaving me in the company of Felix, our steadfast German shepherd. The days melded into a solitary rhythm, and within my quietude, I discovered a confidant in Felix, revealing whispers of my heart that remained unspoken to others. His eyes, brimming with empathy, felt as though they could see right into my solitude, extending a bond I yearned for deeply. As the night wore on, my bewilderment grew, leading me to traverse a boundary I never imagined I would dare to cross. The events that unfolded next would alter the course of my existence, prompting me to ponder whether I could ever return to the life I had previously known. In the year 1970, life in our quaint suburban home in Ohio was meant to be a picture of perfection. My name is Margot, and I once shared my life with Brian, a man whose dreams often overshadowed the love he had for me. Brian had just been elevated in his career, leading to extended hours and increased travel adventures of home. Once a tapestry of joy and communal feasts now resonates with the quiet void left behind. As the days unfolded, they wove together seamlessly, each moment flowing into the next, with only the steady ticking of the grandfather clock in the hallway to punctuate the passage of time. Felix, our steadfast German shepherd, was the one who always stood by my side. He had been a part of our lives since he was just a puppy, a cherished gift from Brian during a time when our affection was still alive and full of colour. With Brian's promotion now a reality, Felix and I found ourselves wandering through the quiet spaces of our home, each corner echoing with the stories of what once was. As I spent time with Felix, I began to weave tales of my thoughts, my fears, and my dreams, drawing him into the narrative of my life. Initially, it provided solace, a means to bridge the emptiness created by Brian's departure. As the weeks unfolded into months, this bond started to transform into something deeper, something elusive and beyond my grasp. As I settled onto the couch, a glass of wine cradled in my hand, I found myself captivated by the way the shadows stretched and danced, painting a story as the sun dipped below the horizon. Felix would nestle his head on my lap, his gaze tracking my every action. In those still moments, I began to observe shifts in him, or maybe in myself. His gaze held a captivating intensity, and his presence commanded attention. Evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across our living room. I felt an unusual pull towards Felix, as if the moment was whispering secrets waiting to be unveiled. What once felt like simple companionship had transformed. Now there was a palpable edge, a tension that lingered in the air, unfamiliar and charged. I discovered a deep connection with him, sharing secrets that I would never reveal to anyone else. Emotions that bubbled up inside me, yearnings that were both thrilling and taboo. Felix leaned in. His attention fully captured his gaze, unwavering, as it met mine. It felt like he grasped each word, each subtlety in my tone. In those tender moments, I could sense his warmth, feel his breath, and the softness of his fur against my skin. It was soothing indeed, yet beneath the surface lingered a hint of something fierce and unrestrained. I started to wonder about the state of my mind. Was I casting my feelings of solitude onto Felix? Or was there really a hidden layer, a profound connection that existed between us? The distinction between human and animal companionship faded, and I discovered myself venturing into realms I never imagined I would on. A quiet evening, following a day that felt especially solitary, I found myself sitting on the floor with Felix, the gentle light from the lamp enveloping us in a warm embrace. I shared my innermost thoughts with him, revealing the hidden truths of my marriage. my deepest longings, and the void that consumed me in Brian's absence. Felix's response went beyond a simple wag of his tail or a gentle nuzzle. It was a gaze, a profound understanding. Gaze that felt as if it could see right into my soul. And then, as if compelled by an invisible hand, I drew nearer, my lips grazing his fur, sensing the heat radiating from his form. It was a moment of connection, an intimacy that danced on the edge of what felt both right and terribly wrong. I stepped away, my heart pounding, my thoughts swirling in a tempest of uncertainty and remorse. One evening, as the sun sank beneath the horizon, painting our living room with elongated shadows, I found myself at a crossroads, ready to embrace a choice that would alter the course of my life. I chose to welcome this new, unsettling connection with Felix, to delve into the intricacies of this relationship that had developed its own narrative. I was aware of the misstep that the world around me would never grasp the truth. In that instant, as Felix's gaze met mine, I experienced a sense of liberation, a break from the shackles of my solitary life. In the stillness, a choice emerged, woven through the unspoken bond we shared. I understood that my impending actions would be viewed as forbidden, as matters best left in silence, yet the allure was irresistible. I leaned in close to Felix, my voice a soft murmur, eager to discover what lay ahead. And with that, I ventured into a realm that was both exhilarating and off-limits. This decision would weave its way into every aspect of my life, shaping our home and the essence of our being. In that moment, as the shadows stretched and the night wrapped around us, I made the decision to embark on this journey, eager to discover the destination of this peculiar, powerful connection with Felix. In the stillness of the house, an eerie silence hung in the air, as if it were holding its breath, waiting for a tale to unfold. After wrapping up my dinner, a quiet meal meant just for me, I found myself settled on the couch, tuning into the evening news. Felix sprawled comfortably at my feet, his head gently nestled on my slippers. The solitude wrapped around me like a heavy cloak, its presence unmistakable and suffocating. As the newscaster's voice droned on about some political scandal, my thoughts drifted away not to Brian or his promotion, but to the comforting warmth of Felix's body against my feet. The television glowed, its light, weaving tales of chaos that echoed the unrest swirling inside me. I switched off the television, and the quiet enveloped me like a heavy blanket. In a fleeting moment of vulnerability, I found myself gently caressing Felix's soft fur, yearning for solace. His reaction was swift, his tail wagging against the ground, his gaze meeting mine with a warmth that seemed almost human. His gaze that night held a certain magic, as if it could delve deep into the very essence of my being. It wasn't merely the warmth of his presence. It was the unspoken assurance of empathy, a connection that rose above the mundane. I leaned in closer, my voice barely above a whisper. "Felix, what are we embarking on?" His ears perked up, and he tilted his head slightly, as if he grasped the weight of my inquiry. A chill crept along my spine, not due to the temperature, but from the understanding that my quest had transformed beyond mere companionship. I found myself in pursuit of an elusive essence, an unnamed desire that stirred within me a blend of thrill and fear. That night, as I lay in bed, the void beside me, where Brian should have been, felt overwhelming. A heavy silence that echoed in the darkness. I reached out to Felix, and he nestled next to me. His warmth a faint echo of human connection, yet still soothing in its own way. His breathing was calm, his body close to mine, and for a fleeting moment I could nearly overlook the emptiness left by Brian's departure. As I surrendered to the embrace of slumber, a shadowy and tantalizing notion began to weave itself into the fabric of my thoughts. What if this connection with Felix could enrich more than just the physical presence beside me? Imagine if it could bridge the gap of emotions, satisfying the deep yearning for connection and closeness. The notion was outrageous, unimaginable, yet it persisted, intensifying with every pulse. I envisioned Felix not merely as a companion, but as a true ally, a confidant in ways Brian could never be. In my dream, we strolled through fields, not as master and creature, but as companions exchanging whispers and joy. The vision unfolded with striking clarity, hues bursting forth feelings laid bare. As I opened my eyes, the remnants of the dream hung in the air softly intertwined with the waking world. The morning light poured in, illuminating the reality of my circumstances in a vivid and undeniable way. Felix remained by my side, his fur a gentle comfort beneath my fingers. I gazed into his eyes, seeking answers, hoping for a hint that what I experienced was not insanity, but rather a fresh form of connection. His gaze held firm without a hint of judgment, and in that instant I experienced a wave of determination. I understood that what I was considering was far outside the boundaries of what society would ever embrace. Yet the solitude, the profound desire for companionship, it was all-consuming. I leaned closer to Felix, my voice barely above a whisper. "Is this what you desire as well?" His response was a tender nuzzle, his nose brushing against my cheek, and in that quiet moment I discovered my answer. It wasn't merely about occupying an empty space, it was an adventure into a fresh realm of connection, one that was as exhilarating as it was taboo. The day unfolded like the canvas, painted with ordinary tasks. Yet my thoughts danced in a different realm, swept away by the storm of my choice. As I stood in the kitchen, the familiar routine of breakfast unfolded my hands, working on autopilot while a whirlwind of thoughts danced in my mind. Occasionally, I would catch a glimpse of Felix, his gaze fixed on me with an understanding that seemed to penetrate the chaos within my soul. As the afternoon sun dipped lower in the sky, stretching shadows across the kitchen floor, I stood by the window, gazing out at the serene street beyond. The world beyond appeared unaware of the tempest swirling inside me. I glanced at Felix, who had been quietly trailing behind me, and said, "Let's discover what lies ahead." Felix, side by side. The choice was reached not through grand gestures or proclamations, but with a steadfast determination. The journey before me was sure to be filled with obstacles marked by the weight of societal scrutiny and the burden of inner remorse. Yet, in that instant, with Felix beside me, an unusual feeling of freedom washed over me, breaking the chains of my former existence. This decision would weave its way into the tapestry of my life, influencing our home and the essence of our being. As the shadows stretched and the night wrapped around us, I decided to embark on this journey, eager to discover the destination of this peculiar deep connection with Felix. As the days stretched into weeks, the shadows of solitude grew ever darker. Brian's calls dwindled his assurances of returning home. Soon feeling empty, Felix was a constant figure in my life, his presence soothing the ache of my loneliness. One afternoon, with the house to myself, I was enveloped in a profound sense of sadness. As I sat on the floor engaged in play with Felix, a subtle change caught my attention. His playful nips evolved into a deeper connection, one that carried an unsettling sense of intimacy. In a fleeting moment of chaos, propelled by solitude and a warped sense of love, I ventured beyond a boundary I never imagined I would breach. The moment was fleeting, perplexing, and steeped in a blend of remorse and liberation. The memory of his fur's warmth against my skin lingers, as does the gentle mingling of our breaths. In a moment of sheer urgency, a quest for intimacy unfolded in the most unlikely of settings. My heart raced within me, a rhythm of embarrassment and excitement. Felix's eyes, typically brimming with affection and devotion, now appeared to echo a bewilderment that resonated with my own feelings. The atmosphere was thick with unspoken words. Our breaths, the only sound as the chaos outside, remained, unaware of the turmoil brewing inside us. A wave of intensity washed over me, a deep and instinctual connection, as if I had unearthed a timeless hidden link. Yet with that surge came a flood of remorse, an overwhelming tide that loomed to engulf me in its abyss. I stepped away, my thoughts swirling with the significance of what had just unfolded. The threshold I had stepped over was not merely a matter of society's expectations, but profoundly intimate a limit I had never envisioned surpassing. Yet, there was a part of me, an unrecognized fragment, that experienced an unusual sense of freedom, as if I had cast off a layer of my former self, uncovering something genuine and unrefined beneath. In that moment, a wave of remorse crashed over me, consuming every thought. I rose to my feet, my legs trembling, and stepped away from Felix, who regarded me with an understanding gaze. I wandered the room, my mind swirling with a tempest of uncertainty and regret. I murmured softly, "What have I done?" The question lingered in the stillness of the house, waiting for a response that never came. In the midst of my inner struggles, the front door swung open, and in walked Brian. His presence hit me like a brisk wave, yanking me away from the depths of my own thoughts. With a weary tone that spoke of journeys taken, he called out, "Margot, I'm home." I stood still, my heart racing in my chest. Felix, feeling the change in the air, made his way to Brian, his tail wagging joyfully, unaware of the tempest he had just experienced. Brian's gaze locked with mine, and in that fleeting instant, I glimpsed the husband I once knew, the man whose dreams had drawn him away from my side. But now, as I stood there, I felt like an outsider in my own space, a hidden truth simmering inside me, a truth that could dismantle all we had created. I mustered a faint smile, my voice just a soft murmur. "Welcome home, Brian." He let his suitcase fall to the ground, a bright smile spreading across his face, completely oblivious to the storm brewing within me. "I've longed for your presence," he said, stepping closer for a warm embrace. I instinctively took a step back, the weight of guilt making every touch feel like an act of treachery. I paused, my voice faltering, as I turned to conceal the warmth spreading across my face. Brian wore a look of confusion, yet still nodded, allowing me the room I needed. Absolutely no rush at all. I'll just go ahead and unpack in the meantime. As I made my way to the bathroom, I secured the door, pressing my back against it, before slowly sinking down to the floor. The mirror revealed a figure I hardly knew, her gaze filled with trepidation and uncertainty. In that moment, I understood the profound nature of my solitude, how it had compelled me to find comfort in the most surprising, the most taboo of realms. The connection with Felix, which used to bring solace, now resembled a heavy shackle, tying me to a hidden truth that threatened to unravel everything I held dear. The moment had come for me to confront Brian, and in doing so, to confront my own reflection. Yet the burden of my actions felt overwhelmingly heavy. The dwelling which had once embraced me in warmth now loomed like a fortress of my own design. As I lingered in that moment, the rhythm of Brian's footsteps reverberated through the house, each sound a poignant reminder of the life I once knew, the life that felt like it had slipped away from me. The choice to delve into this connection with Felix brought me to this pivotal moment where each decision appeared to spiral into deeper anguish and greater uncertainty. The consequences of my choices were starting to weave their way into my life, into our home, into the very essence of our being. As the shadows stretched and the night wrapped around us, I found myself pondering the destination of this peculiar deep connection with Felix. The door creaked open, breaking the stillness of the house like a sudden clap of thunder. I stood still, my heart racing as I heard Brian's footsteps reverberate through the corridor. Felix, feeling the shift in the air, let out a soft whimper and slowly retreated from my side. I leapt to my feet, thoughts swirling as I sought a reason. Every tale has its own narrative. Brian stepped into the doorway, his expression shifting from bewilderment to disbelief and then to sheer terror as he absorbed the unfolding drama before him. "What on earth, Margot?" His voice carried a blend of astonishment and disgust. I attempted to share my thoughts, to convey my feelings. Yet the right words eluded me. In the stillness, Felix's gentle whines pierced through the quiet, weaving, a tale of longing and emotion. Brian's gaze flickered between me and Felix, a steely resolve settling on his face. "What tales have you woven?" His voice was a hushed murmur, laced with an edge that sliced through the palpable unease. I parted my lips, yet silence enveloped me. My mind was a tempest of remorse and trepidation. Each thought a flash of understanding. I found myself on the other side of a boundary, one that transcended mere societal norms and struck at the very core of my being. As he ventured deeper into the room, his eyes remained fixed on me, weaving an unspoken narrative between us. "Margot, please share with me what has transpired in this place." His tone was resolute, commanding attention, but beneath it lay a whisper of anguish, a sense of treachery. I inhaled deeply, seeking to calm my voice. "Brian, I felt so isolated. In your absence, Felix remained a constant presence, always by my side. It unfolded in a way that was completely unexpected." Brian's face twisted into a tapestry of emotions, a blend of disgust, anger, and an elusive feeling that danced just out of reach. "It occurred," he repeated, his voice growing louder. "You allowed it to unfold. You made this choice." Emotions surged within me, bringing forth a wave of warmth and sharpness. It wasn't my intention for things to unfold like this. There I was wandering without direction. Brian. I was searching for a companion, an element to bridge the emptiness within me. He shook his head, his eyes now filled with an ace detachment, drifting away into the unknown. "This goes beyond mere solitude. Margot, this is about the paths we take, decisions taken in my absence." The atmosphere felt heavy, as if the very walls were pressing down on us, reflecting the disintegration of our once vibrant union. Felix, feeling the weight of the moment, settled down, resting his head on his paws, his eyes reflecting a deep, sorrowful comprehension of our plight. Apologies escaped my lips in a soft murmur, yet they felt empty. As they lingered in the air, I found myself searching for a way to navigate through it all. Brian's jaw tightened, his hands balling into fists at his sides, a storm of emotions brewing within him. "There was an opportunity for you to share your thoughts with me, Margot. It would have been nice if you had held on for me. Instead, you chose this path." As I gazed at Felix, his steadfast loyalty shone through, undeterred by the turmoil surrounding us. "I understand the mistake, Brian. I realize it's not something that would resonate with everyone, yet in my solitude amidst the shadows of my sorrow, it seemed to be the sole thread that tied me to something greater." For a brief instant, Brian's expression revealed a hint of vulnerability, only to quickly return to its steely resolve. "What comes next? What shall we embark on next? Margot, what journey do we take to overcome this?" I shook my head, my cheeks wet with tears. "I'm unsure. If only I could rewind time and erase everything that happened. Yet I find myself unable to do so. I've woven quite the tangled tale of chaos." He paused, his gaze sweeping across the room, searching for a way out. "I must take a moment to reflect. I require some time to reflect on this." His voice trembled, every word a battle to be spoken. I nodded, sensing the growing distance between us with each passing moment. "I see what you mean. Feel free to take as long as you wish." Brian paused at the doorway, a moment of reflection before stepping out. "This goes beyond just you and Felix, Margot. It revolves around our journey, reflecting on our journey and transformation." His voice had dwindled to a mere whisper, heavy with the burden of our broken trust. With each step he took, the echo of his footsteps resonated like a ticking clock heralding an uncertain destiny ahead. Felix let out a soft whimper, inching closer to me, as if searching for solace, or maybe even extending it. I collapsed onto the floor, embracing him tightly, savoring the warmth of his fur, the sole anchor amidst the chaos swirling around me. the house stood in an unsettling hush, the remnants of Brian's exit hanging like a ghost in the atmosphere. In that moment, I realized that the unfolding events would forever alter the course of our lives. The connection with Felix, which had once provided comfort, now seemed like a heavy shackle tying me to a hidden truth that threatened to unravel it all. In that stillness, with Felix's head resting on my lap, I came to understand the profound nature of my solitude, how it had led me to find comfort in the most unexpected of places. The consequences of my choices were starting to weave their way into my life, into our home, into the very essence of our being. As the shadows stretched and the night wrapped around us, I found myself pondering the destination of this peculiar, deep connection with Felix. I found myself on the floor, burdened by the gravity of my choices, as if an invisible weight was holding me down, in a world that felt like it was falling apart. Felix's warmth wrapped around me like a comforting tale, offering solace amidst the chaos. In the stillness of the house, the sound of the grandfather clock echoed each tick, a poignant reminder of moments fading into the past, moments forever lost. Brian's words echoed in my mind, accompanied by the chilling gaze of his accusing eyes. "You've completely lost it," he had remarked, his voice slicing through the haze of my remorse. The shame washed over me, a powerful surge that felt like it could pull me under into its abyss. I longed to share the essence of my solitude, to convey its profound nature. Yet I found myself at a loss for words. Who could truly grasp the intricate journey I had navigated? A wave of nausea washed over me, the room swirling as Brian turned his back, his fingers raking through his hair in exasperation. I extended my hand, my fingers quivering with anticipation, yet he flinched away from my touch as though it seared his skin. "I can't be here," he had said, his voice trembling with a blend of frustration and sorrow. "It's time for me to go." The echo of the door shutting behind him marked the end of a chapter in our shared life, sealing the fate of what once was. In that moment, I found myself alone with Felix, his gaze filled with a mix of confusion and betrayal that spoke volumes. It seemed he too sensed the burden of the events that had unfolded, the fracture of faith not only between Brian and myself, but also between me and the reality I had once embraced. I leaned closer to Felix, my voice a soft murmur. "I'm sorry, I'm truly sorry." Yet, what was the reason behind my apology for deceiving Brian? For pulling Felix into this situation, or for the part of me that still sensed an unusual secret bond with him? The night unfolded, every passing moment heavy with significance. The weight of my choices loomed over me, a daunting shadow that left me feeling frozen in place. What would it take to return to the life I once knew? How could I face Brian carrying the weight of my actions? The connection with Felix, which had once provided comfort, now seemed like a tether, holding me to a hidden truth that threatened to expose it all. As the shadows grew longer, so too did my sense of hopelessness. I rose to my feet, my legs trembling, and made my way to the window. The street lay still, while the chaos inside me raged unnoticed by the world around. I leaned my forehead against the cool glass, yearning for a glimpse of understanding. Yet understanding remained just out of reach. Instead, my mind was a tempest of uncertainty and self-blame. I had ventured into uncharted territory, a realm that transcended mere societal boundaries and delved into the depths of my own being. Yet there was a part of me, an unrecognized fragment, that experienced an unusual sense of freedom, as if I had cast off a layer of my former self, uncovering something pure and unrefined beneath. I glanced over at Felix, who had trailed behind me in silence, his gaze fixed on me with a deep, sorrowful comprehension. "What shall we embark on next?" "Felix?" I inquired, my voice quivering with emotion. His response was a soft nuzzle, his nose brushing against my cheek, and in that tender moment I discovered my answer. It was more than merely occupying the emptiness. It was a journey into a realm of connection where excitement intertwined with the allure of the unattainable. The choice was reached not through grand gestures or proclamations, but with a subtle determination. The journey before me was sure to be filled with obstacles marked by the weight of societal scrutiny and the burden of inner remorse. In that moment, with Felix by my side, I experienced an unusual sense of freedom, a breaking away from the limitations of my former existence. I leaned in closer, my words soft and delicate. "Let's discover what lies ahead, Felix, once united." The words resonated like a promise, a vow to explore this unfamiliar landscape side by side, regardless of the challenges ahead. The consequences of this decision were starting to weave their way into my life, into our home, into the very essence of our being as the shadows stretched and the night wrapped around us. I found myself pondering the destination of the peculiar, deep connection with Felix. The haunting journey was just beginning, and the road ahead was cloaked in mystery. Yet one truth stood out vividly. I decided to embark on this journey, eager to discover the adventures that awaited us side by side. The days that came after were a whirlwind of events. Brian didn't return, and his absence transformed into a silence that carried a weight of judgment and disdain. In the quiet moments with Felix, the air was thick with the weight of our shared past. Casting a shadow over our connection, I attempted to connect with Brian to share my thoughts, to express my regrets, but he had severed all ties. The house, which had once been filled with laughter and warmth, now loomed over me like a fortress of solitude, a creation of my own design. The walls felt like they were tightening around me, every room resonating with the echoes of our shared moments, now fractured by my choices. In my solitude, I started to explore my thoughts with a therapist, seeking to unravel the complexities of my actions, my loneliness, and my feelings of betrayal. The sessions were intense, uncovering depths of my mind I had never confronted before. I found myself in the therapist's office, the leather chair chilling against my back as I shared the events, my voice quivering with every word. It was more than simply experiencing solitude. I opened up my gaze, glued to the ground, unable to look the therapist in the eye. Felix seemed to be the only one who really got me always present when I felt unseen by everyone around me. The therapist, a woman with warm eyes and a soothing voice, absorbed every word with care. "Margot, it's essential to understand that your experiences of loneliness and the decisions you've taken weave into a broader tale. Your desire for connection came through, yet it manifested in a manner that was profoundly misguided and painful." Her words pierced through, yet they held a ring of truth. I ventured beyond limits, transcending not only societal norms, but also the guiding principles I held within myself. Each session revealed another chapter, uncovering my vulnerabilities, my fears, and the profound nature of my loneliness. Felix, steadfast and true, remained by my side, yet my gaze no longer held the same warmth for him. His once reassuring presence now echoed the tale of my descent from favor. One evening, while I lingered on the porch observing the sun dip below the horizon, I resolved to take him to a shelter. It was a decision that weighed heavily on my heart. Yet deep down, I understood it was the right path to take. With a heavy heart, I murmured my apologies to Felix as I gently placed him in the care of the shelter worker, his tail wagging in a mix of uncertainty and hope. Every heart longs for a family that can embrace you, fully free from the weight of past missteps. In my journey, I ventured to new horizons, yearning for a fresh start, an opportunity to rise anew from the remnants of my history. I gathered my belongings, departing from the home that had transformed into a silent testament of my past existence. The journey to my new apartment stretched on every mile, creating a greater divide from the life I once embraced. Yet the recollection of that day, the expression on Brian's face, and the absence of Felix would forever remain a haunting echo of the depths one can reach when solitude intertwines with their most shadowy reflections. In my new apartment, I embarked on a journey of fresh beginnings. I adorned the space with soft, muted hues, aiming to wash away any lingering memories. Yet occasionally I'd spot Felix out of the corner of my eye, or hear Brian's voice during the stillness before slumber. I discovered a new role, one that filled my days with activity. Yet the evenings stretched on, brimming with reflection and a sense of longing. I became a member of a book club, seeking to forge connections with others to bridge the emptiness that had led me to such lengths. Yet the exchanges seemed empty, the joy contrived. One evening, as I sat quietly with a book in hand, the stillness was interrupted by a knock at the door. My heart raced, a whirlwind of anticipation and fear coursing through my veins. Yet it turned out to be nothing more than the neighbour seeking a bit of sugar. As time flowed from days to weeks, a gentle calm began to settle within me. I began my journey at an animal shelter, not as a way to fill the void left by Felix, but to contribute to find a way to make things right, even if just a little. The dogs there, each carrying their own tales of abandonment and hope, revealed to me the essence of resilience and the ability to love, even after enduring past pains. Still, the echoes of my previous choices lingered, shaping the narrative of my journey. In stillness, I found myself pondering the paths I had taken, the decisions I had embraced, and the existence that had slipped away. The therapist's words lingered in my thoughts, reminding me that certain errors are permanent, and all we can do is navigate through them. And so I discovered that certain missteps are permanent companions shaping the journey ahead. The journey I embarked on with Felix. The journey that brought me to my knees had woven itself into my very being, a mark that would forever remain. Yet, as I navigated through the challenges of everyday life, I discovered a different kind of resilience, a determination to ensure that solitude would never pull me down to those depths again. The adventure was just beginning, and the road ahead remained shrouded in mystery. Yet I was resolute in my quest to navigate it, to reconstruct my life, to embrace the outcomes of my decisions, and maybe in time to discover a sense of forgiveness within my own heart. If you found this tale captivating, be sure to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. This will assist us in crafting more captivating narratives for you.